Welcome back, and we will continue with our reading of the Bible. Again, I'm reading from the New King James Version, and we're picking up where we left off, Genesis chapter 10. Now, this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dotanim. From these, the coastland peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabata, Rama, and Sabataka, and the sons of Rama were Sheba and Dedan. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From the land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah. That is the principal city. Mizraim begot Ludim, Anonimim, Lahabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, and Casluhim, from whom came the Philistines, and Caphtorim. Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Arkite, and the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathathite. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites were dispersed, and the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go towards Gerar as far as Gaza, then as you go towards Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, and in their nations. And the children were born also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. The sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gaither, and Mash. Arphaxad begot Salah, and Salah begot Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his day the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan begot Almadad, Shelef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uziel, Diklah, Abal, Abimael, Sheba, Aphir, Havilah, and Jobab, and all these were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling place was from Misha as you go towards Saphar, the mountain of the east. These were the sons of Shem according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations, and from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood. So again, here in chapter 10, and please forgive these pronunciations, I am American, and trying to pronounce these names are difficult. So I did the best that I could. It's what this chapter means the most is all about genealogy. And again, like I said before, genealogy matters because it tells us who's in the land. You have to know your DNA and your history, where you came from, whose family you were a part of, your bloodline, and what has been spoken over those lines. So now we'll go on to chapter 11. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Indeed, the people are one, and they have one language, and this is what they began to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore, its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. After he begot Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and begot sons and daughters. Arphaxad lived 35 years and begot Salah. After he begot Salah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber. After he begot Eber, Salah lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and begot Peleg. After he begot Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begot sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. After he begot Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and begot sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years and begot Serug. After he begot Serug, Reu lived 207 years and begot sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and begot Nahor. After he begot Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and begot sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. After he begot Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begot sons and daughters. Now Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. This is the genealogy of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran begot Lot, and Haran died before his father Terah in his native land in Ur of the Chaldeans. Then Abram and Nahor took wives, and the name of Abram's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarah was barren, she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarah, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. So the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So in chapter 11, we see that, first of all, the whole earth had one speech and one language. But the people came together, and when they came together, God took notice that they were able to do mighty things among themselves because they understood one another so well. Well, that tells us a lot about what we can do collectively when we come together. So what God did was he confused the language. And now throughout the world, throughout the earth, we have so many different languages. And it's difficult to communicate if you don't know the language of another person. It's difficult to have that type of teamwork if you cannot fully understand them. Now, we know that now we have different tools that we can use to understand one another, but there's still a difference in having a native tongue with someone to where you can understand them clearly in their intent as the language naturally flows. So when he confused the language, he also scattered them. And so as we see in the world today, we have different tongues and we have different nations with different languages throughout the world. Then we also saw some more genealogy so that you can understand which family that different people were a part of in the Bible. And one of the most important of these, which we're about to see, is Abram. You may know him or be familiar with him as Father Abraham. So we're about to dive deeper into that story of how his name got changed and where he ended up dwelling and the covenant that God made with him. So let's continue on with chapter 12. Now the Lord had said to Abram, "Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you, and in all the families of the earth shall be blessed, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Then Abram took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran. And they departed to go to the land of Canaan. So they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem as far as the terebinth tree of Morah. And the Canaanites were then in the land. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." And there he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him. And he moved from there to the mountain east of Bethel, and he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. So Abram journeyed going on still towards the south. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there. For the famine was severe in the land. And it came to pass, when he was close to entering Egypt, that he said to Sarah his wife, Indeed, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance. Therefore, it will happen when the Egyptians see you that they will say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Please say you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you. So it was when Abram came into Egypt that the Egyptians saw the woman, that she was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commended her to Pharaoh. And the woman who was taken to Pharaoh's house, he treated Abram well for her sake. He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister? I might have taken her as my wife. Now, therefore, here's your wife. Take her and go your way. So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. So in this chapter, we see God making a promise to Abraham. He tells him to get out of his country and go to this land that I will show you. And he tells him he's going to make his name great, and he's going to bless him. And he's going to bless those that bless him and curse those that curse him. And that from Abram, all of the families of the earth should be blessed. So this is where we get the covenant with Abraham. And so we are also partakers in that covenant. And then we also see Abraham's qualities. We know that he is a righteous man that God chose to be the father of nations, but we also know that he is a man with flaws and faults. So he lied, saying that Sarai was his sister when she was in fact his wife. But even in that, the Lord blessed him. Because what happened was when Pharaoh took in Sarai, he rewarded Abram with all of this livestock. So he became more prosperous along the journey. And so we can see a part of that blessing that the Lord put on him, even in this situation. And then we see Pharaoh figuring out that Sarai was not his sister, but was in fact his wife, and sending him away, even with all of the cattle and livestock that he had given him. So he walked away from that situation blessed. So you can think of this two ways, right? The Lord sometimes allows our situations, even though we get into some sticky situation, He allows us to be blessed even in that. Because once the blessing is on you, the blessing is on you. And you go away with those things that are yours. So let's go on to chapter 13. And when Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him to the south, Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. Now the land was not able to support them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. The Canaanites and the Perizzites then dwelt in the land. So Abram said to Lot, "Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I will go right, or if you go to the right, then I will go to the left." And Lot lifted his eyes and saw all the plains of Jordan, all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed, this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you go towards Zoar. Then Lot chose for himself all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east. And they separated from each other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent even as far as Sodom. But the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Lift your eyes now and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, and westward. For all the land which you see, I give to you and your descendants forever. And I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you." And Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to the Lord. So we see in this chapter that Abram again leaves Egypt with all of this wealth. He's so wealthy that him and his nephew Lot had so much that they couldn't dwell together because their herdsmen began to have contention. So they separated from one another. And I want you to pay attention to the way that Abram peacefully separated from Lot. Now, he could have chosen for himself the very best land, but he allowed Lot to choose the land that he wanted. And Lot chose the best of the land. But even though he chose the best of the land, all of the land was given to Abram. So God makes him this promise that if he looks north, south, east, and west, that all of the land is his. So you see, Lot got a portion, but Abram got everything. And so now we see how the Lord is using an actual gifting of the land and also a gifting of seed, a gifting of nations, a gifting of a people that we'll see as we continue to read. But we're also going to see how Abram had to fight for the land and struggle as well with having his nephew Lot with him. So let's just read chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemember, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bel, that is Zor, all these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him came and attacked Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Karnam, the Zuzim in Ham, the Emim in Shevev, Kirathaim, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir as far as El Paran, which is by the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and attacked all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites who dwell in Hezon Tamar, and the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor, went out and joined together in the valley of Siddim against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of nations, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of asphalt pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. Then they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions and went their way. They also took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and the brother of Aner, that they were allies of Abram. Now, when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants attacked them and pursued them as far as Habah, which is north of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley, after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out their bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him a tithe of all. Now the king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the persons and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to the Lord God Most High, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will take nothing from a thread to a sandal strap, and that I will not take anything that is yours. lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. And so we see here in this chapter that his nephew Lot got himself in a convoluted situation where he was captured, and in the midst of a battle with all of these kings. But Abram gets wind of it because a servant got away and came to tell him about it. And Abram went and took his servants and fought. So that tells me that Abram had taught his household how to fight. So he went and got his nephew back. And then he receives a blessing from Melchizedek, the king of Salem. And he blesses him for his ability to have his enemies be delivered into his hands. And Abraham gave him a tithe of all. So we see here that not only does Abram build altars to the Lord, but he also tithes. And we'll talk more about tithes as we move further in our study of the word. But you can see here another representation of how to tithe. We tithe out of gratitude to the Lord, right? Not under the law, but out of gratitude for abundance. And so here we see also that Abram denies taking from a group of people. So he says to the king of Sodom that he won't take anything from him. And he said that I won't do this because God told me not to do it, lest you say that you made me rich. And also, you see where the money comes from. It comes from Sodom, a place of corruption, right? A place that has ties to it that are not under the blessing. So again, we see here how Abram listens to the Lord. He obeys in that he does what is asked of him completely, not partially, but completely. So next time we'll go a little further into how God makes a covenant with Abram, and we'll see more about his story and how his testimony still lives on today in us through blessing. So I hope that you will remain faithful in reading 5 pages a day with me. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll continue on starting in chapter 15. See you then.